Your good job may be the very thing that's standing in the way of you and your dream job. I'll explain why and how you can take the next simple steps to crafting your dream job today on the Next Simple Step podcast. I'm Paul Goldsmith. Maybe you were told as a kid, just study hard and get a good job. That's fine advice when you're just getting started, but you spend a lot of time at work. So what if you could actually create something better than good, but something uniquely designed for you? That's what being an entrepreneur is all about. You long for freedom, more freedom to spend the time doing the things you want to do and be around the people you want to be around. If you work for somebody else, your freedom is limited by definition. They've created the job. It may or may not match what it is you want to do. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur for sure. So I'd encourage you to figure that out first and foremost. If you have the risk tolerance, if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, then I highly encourage you go full force ahead. However, if you like having the semblance of security and the predictable paycheck every couple of weeks, the 9 to 5, the benefits, and then just enjoy your life on nights and weekends, there are lots of different ways you can go about finding the ideal job for you. Don't just settle for the one you have now if it's not a right fit for you. Oftentimes, comfort is the enemy of progress. But the good news is you have agency. If you want to change your circumstances, the quickest way to do that is to change your environment. If you love the company you're working for, what I would suggest is actually design your ideal job where the greatest need of the company meets your greatest ability, and write up a job description and invite your boss to lunch and propose that, see what they say. That may just be the solution. If there's resistance, if there's no interest on the part of your boss or your company, then you know that you have to look externally. But start there where you're at if you already have a company that you enjoy being a part of. If now's the time, if you're really feeling the entrepreneurial spirit, what I would encourage you to do while you've got the 9 to 5, that's really the time to gain experience, not just to earn a few bucks on the side doing something you're good at, but really, truly get into your zone. What is your zone of genius? What are you better than most anyone else in the world at and you just love doing? What makes you tick? What conditions have to be true to produce the best version of yourself? Remember the acronym HALT? It stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And it was first developed to help addicts in recovery to see where they're most vulnerable to relapse. But as any parent knows, it's helpful to know when your child is hungry, angry, lonely, or tired because they're not going to be in their best selves. Well, the same is true for adults. But beyond that, when your basic needs are being met, you still have to go a step further. What type of work are you doing when you feel your best? Is it outside? Is it inside? Is it with other people? Is it alone? You get what I mean? Like, what is the ideal work environment and how can you optimize that space? Maybe you need to change jobs. Maybe you need to become an entrepreneur to create your own conditions. How are you setting yourself up for success so that you can thrive and not regretting when you go to work or when you get home? The ideal environment. What does that look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Set yourself up for long-term success, not just to power through another day. Optimize your work environment to bring out your best self, your best work. This simple step is one that holds most of us up, that slows us down from actually reaching our potential. I don't care what it is. If your goal is to be a better swimmer, but you don't live around any water and you don't visit any pools, you're going to really struggle developing that skill. And the same is true of any creative pursuit. If you want to write more, you got to write. But how do you set up the environment? Well, it would be helpful to not have all of this external stimuli, the TV, radio, your phone blaring, whatever the case may be. Turn down the noise. The noise may be coming from that side hustle, the thing you're doing to earn a little extra income, but it's distracting you from your driving passion to do the thing you really want to do. That's really hard to do because we are all bombarded with information. A change in your environment may just be the thing that's been holding you back. So once you've determined the ideal job scenario, what the role alignment looks like for you and your entrepreneurial risk tolerance, then you've set up your environment to optimize for your ideal job, your ideal entrepreneurial opportunity, then the final step is actually to commit to the work. We all underestimate what we can do in a year and overestimate what we can do in a day. Nothing good gets built in a day or a week. It takes time. But if the goal is good enough, if it is a goal that is a driving passion of yours, commit to doing it for at least 2 to 3 years. Get the coaching, find accountability, do what is required, because you will regret not starting. If it's something that's just a hobby, that's okay. Acknowledge that. But this is a thing that if you don't do, you will regret. So you really have got to commit to putting in the reps, the consistency over time that will produce the results you're looking for. There's no shortcut. There's no quick fix. You have got to put in the work, and you'll get feedback along the way about what works or doesn't work. What will definitely not work is giving up after 6 months or deciding that a lesser goal is something that you want to pursue. And I love the quote that goes something like, "We are kept from our goals, not by obstacles, but a clear path to lesser goals." Check your ego. I know I'm guilty of this, of choosing a lesser goal because I'll feel good about crushing it in a shorter period of time. I want instant results, but I've learned it's so much sweeter when you work for something over a long period of time and you put in the sweat equity and it pays off over time. Like training for a marathon, for example, that takes months and months of training runs over time. It doesn't happen in a weekend. And your career is something that you're going to do for a very long time. So it's worth pursuing this for a very long time to get that right fit opportunity. And I can help if you don't know exactly what your ideal job would look like, or you don't know if you're ready to be an entrepreneur. I have an assessment that I offer my coaching clients. I'd be happy to introduce it to you. It's called The Print, which stands for Motivational Imprint, and really helps determining how you work best. And there's a portion of the assessment that is all about your ideal job, your role alignment within a company. It would be super helpful if you're at this point where you want to determine what that looks like. Feel free to reach out. You can schedule a free discovery coaching call. See if that might be a good fit for you. You can find that at nextsimplestep.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time on the Next Simple Step podcast.